Hello, and welcome back to the Better Humans Project podcast. And I'm your host, Greg Pfeiffer. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt the energy shift? Maybe you've met someone and, before they've even said a word, you just felt something: warmth, tension, calm, unease. Or maybe you've had days where everything seems to flow effortlessly, and others where you feel heavy, stuck, like you're wading through mud. We often dismiss these experiences as coincidence, mood, or imagination. But what if there's something deeper going on? What if the energy you carry, the invisible frequency you broadcast into the world, is shaping your life in ways you've never fully considered? Today, we're exploring one of the most fascinating intersections of ancient wisdom and modern science: the concept of personal frequencies and vibrations. And by the end of this episode, I think you'll look at yourself and the people around you very differently. The concept of personal vibration isn't new. In fact, it's ancient. Thousands of years ago, Eastern philosophies, from Hindu traditions to Chinese medicine, were built on the understanding that everything in existence is energy. The Sanskrit concept of prana, the Chinese concept of qi or ki, these are both describing the same fundamental idea: that life itself is a form of flowing dynamic energy. When the energy flows freely, we experience health, clarity, and vitality. When it becomes blocked or stagnant, we experience illness, confusion, and suffering. In the Western world, this idea gained scientific momentum in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest scientific minds in history, famously said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Tesla understood that everything in the physical world is, at its core, vibrating matter. Modern quantum physics has since confirmed what philosophers and mystics suspected for millennia. At the subatomic level, nothing is truly solid. Everything, including you, is in a constant state of vibration. Albert Einstein himself demonstrated that matter and energy are interchangeable. E equals mc squared. You are not just a body walking through the world, you are a field of energy, constantly interacting with the energy around you. So when we talk about personal frequency, we're not speaking in purely metaphorical terms. We're talking about a real, measurable phenomenon: the energetic state you inhabit and broadcast moment to moment, day to day. Now, let's be honest here. The language of vibrational frequency can sometimes wander into territory that's difficult to measure and easy to dismiss. So let's ground this in what psychology and neuroscience can tell us, because the evidence is genuinely compelling. In the 1990s, Dr. David Hawkins, a psychiatrist and researcher, developed what he called the map of consciousness. Using applied kinesiology as a measurement tool, Hawkins proposed that human emotional states exist on a spectrum of energetic frequencies, ranging from the lowest states like shame, guilt, and fear, right up through courage, acceptance, love, and at the very top, enlightenment. And while his methodology has its critics, the framework itself maps remarkably well onto what modern psychology knows about emotional states and their effects on our physiology and behaviour. What we know for certain is this: emotions are not just feelings, they are physiological states. Fear triggers a cascade of stress hormones. Joy releases endorphins and oxytocin. Chronic anger elevates cortisol and inflames the body. The emotional state you live in most of the time is literally shaping your biology, your decisions, your relationships, and your experience of life. The field of psychoneuroimmunology, the study of how our thoughts and emotions affect the immune system, has shown that people who experience chronic negative emotional states have measurably weakened immune responses. People who regularly experience positive emotional states, gratitude, love, or compassion, show stronger immune function, lower inflammation, and longer life expectancy. Dr. Barbara Fredrickson's broaden and build theory of positive emotions takes this even further. She found that positive emotional states don't just feel good, they literally expand our thinking, our creativity, and our capacity to connect with others. Positive emotions build what she calls psychological resources, resilience, optimism, social bonds that compound over time. In other words, high frequency emotional states make you more capable, more connected, more alive. And then there's the work of the HeartMath Institute, which has studied the electromagnetic field produced by the human heart. They've found that the heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond the body, and that this field changes measurably depending on our emotional state. Coherent, positive emotional states produce a smooth, ordered field. Chaotic, negative states produce an erratic one. And here's the extraordinary part. This field is detectable by other people. We are, quite literally, broadcasting our inner state into the space around us. So when you feel someone's energy, you're not imagining it. You're picking it up. So what does a high frequency life actually look like? This is where it gets really interesting, because when you look at the attributes of people who are described as living at a high vibration, you find something remarkable. They tend to be, simply put, good people. Think about the individuals in your life who seem to radiate something positive, who lift the energy of a room just by entering it. What do they have in common? They are genuinely grateful, not performatively, not on social media for appearances, but deeply, quietly grateful for the ordinary moments of life. Research by Dr. Robert Emmons at UC Davis has consistently shown that gratitude is one of the most powerful determinants of psychological well-being. Grateful people report higher life satisfaction, more positive emotions, and stronger relationships. So gratitude, it seems, is a high-frequency practice. They are compassionate and kind, without expectation. High vibration people don't perform kindness. They don't keep score. They give because giving feels aligned with who they are. And interestingly, science backs this up. Acts of genuine kindness trigger the release of serotonin in both the giver and the receiver, and even in people who merely witness it. Kindness, it turns out, is contagious at a biological level. They take responsibility for their inner state. Rather than blaming the world for how they feel, high frequency people understand that their emotional state is, to a significant degree, their own responsibility. So, this doesn't mean toxic positivity or denying pain. It means choosing consciously where to direct their attention and energy. Viktor Frankl, psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, wrote beautifully about this. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our freedom. High frequency people have learned to live in that space. They are present, not lost in regret about the past or anxiety about the future, but genuinely here. Mindfulness research consistently shows that presence, the ability to be fully in the current moment, is strongly associated with well-being, emotional regulation, and quality of relationships. They speak with intention. Words carry energy. High-frequency people tend to be mindful of what they say, how they say it, and why. They default to encouragement over criticism, truth over flattery, and silence over cruelty. They prioritize growth over ego. Rather than needing to be right, they want to be better. They embrace discomfort as a signal of growth. They are curious, humble, and genuinely interested in the world and the people in it. They protect their energy, but without being closed. They know what drains them and they set boundaries, not from fear or selfishness, but from self-awareness. They understand that they cannot pour from an empty cup, and by filling their own cup, they have more to offer everyone around them. So here's the thing. These are not superhuman qualities. They are learnable, they are practicable, and every single one of them begins with a choice. The choice to become more conscious of the frequency you are living at and to deliberately, consistently raise it. So, how do we actually do this? How do we move from a lower vibrational state, fear, resentment, apathy, cynicism, towards something higher? The first step is awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see. Start noticing your dominant emotional state throughout the day, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Are you emotionally anxious, resentful, numb, or are you curious, open, connected? Awareness is the beginning of everything. The second step is intentional input. Everything you consume, the news you read, the conversations you have, the music you listen to, the social media you scroll through, is feeding your frequency. High frequency living means becoming intentional about what you let in. Not avoidance, not ignorance, but curation. Fill your environment with things that elevate you. The third is body based practices, because frequency isn't just mental, it's physical. Movement, breath work, time in nature, quality sleep, and nourishing food all have measurable effects on your emotional and physiological state. You cannot sustainably live at a high frequency while consistently neglecting the body you live in. The fourth is connection. Authentic, reciprocal human connection is one of the most powerful frequency elevating forces available to us. The Harvard Study of Adult Development, the longest running study on human happiness, found that the quality of our relationships is the single greatest predictor of health and happiness. Choose your connections wisely, invest in them deeply. And finally, service. There is something that happens when we turn our attention from ourselves to others. When we ask not just, what do I need, but what can I give? Research consistently shows that people who live with a sense of purpose and contribution report high levels of meaning, fulfillment, and yes, vibration. So this week, your challenge is to conduct a frequency audit. For one full day, pay close attention to your energy, morning, afternoon, and evening. Notice what raises it: a conversation, a piece of music, a moment in nature, a memory, a small act of kindness. And notice what lowers it: a particular news story, a relationship dynamic, a habit, a thought pattern. Don't judge what you find, just observe it. Then, at the end of the day, write down three things. One thing you will do more of to raise your frequency, one thing you will do less of, and one person in your life who elevates you, and how you can let them know. Because when you start taking responsibility for the energy you carry, you don't just change your own life, you change the lives of everyone around you. There is a worksheet that accompanies this episode. This worksheet is your personal companion to the Raise Your Frequency, Raise Your Life episode of the Better Humans Project podcast. To get the most out of it, find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted and give yourself around 10 to 15 minutes. Though some sections may invite more reflection than that, and that's a good thing. Work through it in order, as each section builds on the last, moving from honest self-assessment through to a concrete personal plan and daily challenge. There are no right or wrong answers here, only honest ones. If you feel resistance as you work through a question, don't skip it. Resistance is often a signal that something important is waiting to be uncovered. You don't need to complete the entire worksheet in one sitting. Some people find it valuable to return to it across the week as their awareness deepens. When you reach the end of week summary, take your time. Those final 3 commitments, what you'll do more of, what you'll do less of, and who elevates you, are where the real shift begins. Keep this worksheet somewhere visible. Revisit it and notice what changes. So we've covered a lot of ground today, from Eastern philosophy to quantum physics, from neuroscience to the quiet, everyday habits of people who seem to move through life with a kind of grace. Here's what I want you to take away. The idea of personal frequency isn't mystical nonsense. It's not wishful thinking. It is, at its core, a framework for taking radical responsibility for your inner world and understanding that your inner world shapes everything else. When you are living in fear, resentment, or apathy, you are broadcasting that into every room you enter, every relationship you inhabit, every decision you make. When you are living in gratitude, compassion, and presence, you are broadcasting that instead, and people feel it. The science says so. Your own experience says so. The people we admire most, the ones who seem genuinely alive, genuinely good, genuinely at peace, are not lucky. They are not untouched by hardship. They have simply learned, in one way or another, to tend to their own frequency, to choose again and again the higher response, the kinder word, the grateful thought, the open heart. You don't have to get it right all the time, because none of us do. But you can begin today, in this moment, to become a little more aware of the energy you're carrying. And you can choose, just one small degree at a time, to raise it. Because when you raise your frequency, you raise your life. And in doing so, you raise the lives of everyone around you. And this is what this project is all about. So remember, be curious, stay humble, keep growing. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it and tag us on your socials. If you'd like a copy of the accompanying worksheet, simply want to share your story, reach out at contact@thebetterhumansproject.com. Until next time, this is Greg Pfeiffer, and this is the Better Humans Project podcast. Let's keep building better humans together. Take care.